Hey kids. No, I haven't returned to ancient Egypt, even though it looks like it. But there is a giant obelisk, and this is at Trent Park, and it's been there. I think there was a fella called the Duke of Marlborough put it there a few hundred years ago, and he put it there so that when he looked from his mansion house, which is, I'm going to turn around, is right at the end down there, and it's covered in scaffolding at the moment. He could see it, and that mansion house down there in Trent Park County House was also a prisoner of war camp, it turns out, during World War II, where high-ranking officials, German officials, used to be kept prisoners, and apparently lots of secrets were learnt because they would just chatter. And if those of you who are listening to this story and have done World War II will know that propaganda poster, loose lips sink ships. Anyway, The Adventures of Odysseus. It's my favourite ever story because it is just epic. In every sense of the word. It's got monsters, it's got peril, it's got hope, it's got no hope, it's got everything basically, and it's over 3,000 years old, and I think it's a story worth listening to, and you will recognise bits of this story in so many other stories and films that you've heard, seen and watched. So without ado, The Adventures of Odysseus, the prologue. Forgot my glasses. One bright morning, Prince Paris was out hunting. He was climbing the high, rocky slopes of Mount Ida. Far below him, his father's walled city, the city of Troy, lay in a circlet of stones, a shining diadem of towers. As he climbed, there was a sudden shimmer of light to one side of the stony mountain path. Paris turned and saw Hermes, the messenger of the gods. He knew him at once by his winged sandals. Hermes smiled his inscrutable smile, playful smile. "Paris," he said, "I have been sent by Father Zeus, the cloud compeller. He has told me that you must decide which of these three goddesses is the most beautiful." Hermes clicked his fingers and Paris was blinded by light. He covered his face with his hands. Slowly he opened his fingers and saw standing before him the three most beautiful and powerful goddesses of all. There was Hera, the wife of Zeus, the queen of heaven, terrifying in her brilliance. There was owl-eyed Athena, the fierce and implacable goddess of war and wisdom. And there was the beautiful Aphrodite, the goddess of love, to whose lilting tunes the whole world dances to. Hermes gestured to the goddess with his hand. "Paris, when you have decided which of these three is the most beautiful, you must give her this apple." Suddenly, Paris felt the cold weight of a golden apple against the palm of his hand. He looked down at it. When he looked up again, Hermes was gone. The three goddesses glowered at him. Paris's mouth went dry. He knew that if he chose one, the others would hate him, and the hatred of a goddess is something to be avoided at all costs. He stood motionless, dumbfounded, hardly daring to breathe. Hera, the magnificent queen of heaven, stepped forward. She whispered urgently, "Paris, choose me and I will give you power. Choose me and I will make you a great king. Half of the world will be yours." She stepped back. Athena came forward, her grey eyes shining with light. "Paris, choose me and you'll never lose a battle. Choose me and you will be famous the length and breadth of the world for your wisdom." She stepped back. It was Aphrodite's turn, the goddess of love. Stepped towards Paris, smelling of musk and honey. Her voice was deep and enchanting. "Paris, choose me, and I will give you the most beautiful woman in the world." "Who is she?" whispered Paris. "Her name is Helen. She is the wife of red-haired Menelaus, the king of Sparta. I will blind her with love for you. She will give you everything." "What does she look like?" Aphrodite smiled. "She is as beautiful as I am." Then she stepped back. Paris lifted the golden apple above his head. The choice was clear as daylight. The golden apple goes to Aphrodite. Aphrodite was true to her word. She made Helen fall in love with Paris. Paris stole her from her husband and carried her across the blue Aegean Sea to the city of Troy. Menelaus was beside himself with rage. He sent messengers to all the other Greek kings, Agamemnon, Nestor, Ajax, Odysseus, and a huge army set sail. For 10 long years they laid siege to Troy. Hera and Athena, furious that they hadn't been given the golden apple, threw in their lots with the Greeks, and those vengeful goddesses didn't rest until Troy's walls were crumbling, blood-soaked rubble, and Paris was dead. When the city had been destroyed, when Menelaus had won back his wife, the Greek kings set sail for home, swollen with pride, their ships crammed with the spoils of war. And that is the prologue to the story of the adventures of Odysseus. And as a bonus chapter, once we've completed this story, I'm going to add an additional chapter, a bonus chapter, which will be the story about how Paris ended up being chosen to hand the apple to the 3 goddesses. And there's lots of other little things in it, so I'll read that one to you once we've completed this. Okay. Come back soon. Hope you enjoy the story, Elsmead.